Jeff, wake up.
Here.
Jeff,
What?
We're on.
Oh,
We're
Live stream.
Live stream.
sorry. Usually
stream.
you do all the yawning, and I thought I'd get a head start. And salty.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
Ah, gosh.
Jeff Sturley, the comic concierge, Logan Fleming, the comic gremlin, back again. Live stream what? 14?
This is number 14.
Oh, good lord.
I know they're expecting things out of us. at
Talking
this point.
about things and stuff.
things and stuff and stuff and things.
Now, last week we were talking about some grading, and we're going to get into that a little bit more later on. I'm hoping this isn't a 50-minute session, but who knows, because we're going to throw a couple surprises at you.
Can it be?
I posted on our page, Jeff Sturley representing BC Comics, the actual official grading standards for comic books, so you can reference it anytime you want. Just look it up, and what that states is what we use for all of our comics. Anything that comes in, we review it past those grades. So things might look really nice, but they're actual checklist items. A teacher would call it a rubric of things to look for that are what are known as defects that determine the various grades. And that's why the really sharp, high-grade stuff commands a premium price, because it's so scarce to find, virtually undamaged. So that's why that works there. We never got into the Bronze Age very much when we were talking about comic history, and so I thought I'd bring some stuff from my own collection that showed.
I should have brought some of my bronze.
A little bit of the bronze stuff, and we can continue it on next week too, because Logan's got things too. But basically, we're talking 1970 to 1985. All right, so the top 50 most valuable comic books from the Bronze Age. Okay, they're all the kind of thing.
Held it.
Had it and it's gone.
Yeah.
They're all the kind of
there.
they're all the kind of things we would call a key because they're first appearances. They're the kind of books that if you've got a collection of 300, there's about 10 of them or less in any collection that are like ridiculously expensive because they're first appearances, that kind of thing, and the rest are commons like baseball cards, like we've always said. So these books in almost any grade are going to be sought after, but the higher grades, of course, the better. Especially if it's got a black cover, shows damage easy, that kind of thing. So the number one lately has been Marvel Spotlight number 5, the first Ghost Rider. Okay, right up there. Incredible Hulk number 181, the first full Wolverine. Okay, Green Lantern, Green Arrow 76, when Neil Adams took over and Denny O'Neil, and the Green Arrow joins the comic book, and they revamped the whole thing. It became more involved in social issues. The art was highly stepped up. The stories were intelligent, and their entire run is iconic. And that first issue is all green, and it's beautiful, the front cover. Now, what's interesting is
green.
There's the comic books in this category. Mm-hmm. Some of them have taken a serious nosedive above to 50% or more in value in the last few years, because
it actually breaks my heart.
Well, let me tell you why. And this is why comics, you have to watch it. It's like day trading with comics. It ebbs and it flows. Everybody went, oh my god, I gotta get the first Wolverine. So they went out and got the first Wolverine, and then they slabbed it, and then they thought they'd flip it, and then there were so many of them, too much supply. So then they had to lower the prices because you could find one anywhere. Mm-hmm. See, supply and demand will always win. So all the comic books we're talking about in the Bronze Age that everybody and their brother wanted.
But we supply what they demand.
That's true. Mm. But the price is depending on the current market, which goes up and down based on overall and trends, supply and demand.
Yep.
That's why things spike when there's movie and TV references that they're coming out. So the things that have taken a hit have been Green Lantern 76, X-Men 94, Hulk 181, Detective 400, that's the first Man-Bat, the Hulk is the first Wolverine. X-Men number 94 is the first new X-Men teen. Stop.
I'm reading ahead.
The first new X-Men in their own book. Giant Size X-Men number 1, which is the first new X-Men at all. That's their introduction. ASM number Basic Spider-Man number 129. That's the first Punisher. Hulk 180, which is the first Wolverine appearance.
And pink.
And Amazing Spider-Man 121, which is the death of Gwen Stacy. And some of these books have gone down in price by anywhere. Most of them around 50%, some of them as high as 72% drop in price.
Woo!
Just a killer. But other high books you're looking for in the Bronze Age for value. And if you've got them, hang on to them and treat them nicely. Fresh bags, fresh boards. Star Wars #1. One of the original ones. There were several reprints. There's ways to look up to tell which ones are which. And there's also a price variant that Marvel was trying out in this Bronze Age era. They tried it a couple of times, where the normal cover price was 30 cents, but they tried out a 35-cent price variant to see if they could get away with what the customer feedback would be on raising the price 5 cents. They made less of those. They're a limited quantity. And so the price variant ones are always more expensive, and there are multiple titles that they did that with as an experiment. Luke Cage Hero for Hire #1, first Luke Cage. X-Men 94, first in their new team in their own book. Werewolf by Night #1, but also number 32. Number 32 is more valuable than #1 because it's the first appearance of Moon Knight. And Netflix has been talking incessantly for 3 years about putting him in a TV show.
Well,
that has still not died.
I mean, Moon Knight's a great character.
We've got House of Secrets, number 92, because it's the first Swamp Thing.
And
Bernie Wrightson drew it. First Punisher, Amazing Spider-Man 129. Cerebus the Aardvark. For those that aren't into the Marvel or the DC, you've got independent publishers starting to make a mark, and that's probably the biggest one, is Cerebus the Aardvark. So, Iron Fist First Sabretooth is number 14.
We have a couple comments that we have to keep up with. John Young says, "Good evening, gentlemen." Good evening, John. Art says, "Hi, guys." Hello, Art. My mother says, "Hello, Jeff and Logan."
Hello, Jeff and Logan. We have
I'm waiting.
Now, this is when you wouldn't think about it at first, but because of recent events, Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, number 134, first appearance of Darkseid, and suddenly we got the JLA movie, making that a crazy thing. And in fact, the entire Jack Kirby Fourth World universe with the New Gods. Batman 227. Why? When Batman was taken over by Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil, the Joker cover 251, and this one where it's an homage cover of one of the early Detective Comics. Just classic issues that everybody loves. Iron Man 55. First Thanos.
Yep.
And it's like a cameo in the back.
I had to look. See, Marvel was really good with that. When they were to release, new villains or things like that, the first War Machine is 282 or 281 or 181, 182, something like that.
Nice even numbers you can remember them easy.
But the fact is on that last page you open it up and there's War Machine just all like that. But the next book was the actual full appearance of War Machine.
And to tell a good story, you want to leave teasers and cliffhangers, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's then you have to start thinking, if you're a collector, do you want the first full appearance or the first appearance, cameo or whatever? There's a whole issue with Gambit and which one really was his first appearance, etc. That's not Bronze Age anyway.
In my opinion, it's the annual. Because he was an unnamed mutant in that
he spoke, but nobody, everybody just acted like everybody knew who he was. This is that cover I was talking about with the Joker. 251. Everybody loves those. Etc. First Iron Fist. Hulk versus Thing. First Beast in Amazing Adventures number 11, but he was gray. And so on and so forth. First Blade in Tomb of Dracula.
Yeah.
Conan the Barbarian. First Ra's al Ghul. First, Rocket Raccoon was in a magazine called Marvel Preview. Satana's on the cover, but Rocket Raccoon is the main attraction now. First, Mobius. First, Man-Bat. First, Jonah Hex. First, Abomination. Actually not. That's the first appearance of Wolverine with Abomination on the cover. Ghost Rider in his own magazine. Gwen Stacy dying. The Green Goblin dying right after Gwen Stacy dying. And that was a turning point. There are people who stopped collecting comics when Gwen Stacy died because they took it so personally. It had never been done before. A major character just dead for the good of the storyline, according to Marvel. But a lot of some of the public loved it, and some of them it was a big divide. They're still wounded by it 40 years later. Some of them figure it was Marvel's biggest mistake. Swamp Thing.
Which
Warlock.
Which Swamp Thing is that? Is that
That is in his first his own magazine.
okay?
Uh,
I thought it was going to be Saga the Swamp Thing,
Nope.
number 87.
But that's a modern comic. That's more copper modern.
Gorgeous.
Power of Warlock, Iron Fist for Sabretooth, X-Men 101. That would be your first Phoenix.
That'd be
All-Star Comics.
That
Here we go.
gorgeous.
All-Star Comics number 58. This is the first issue when All-Star Comics was brought back since the Golden Age run. And it was the first appearance of Power Girl. They invented her for this story. Kind of new heroes plus the old heroes meshing and so on. And I'm going to post this list right on their main page so you can keep looking up things. Now, these prices they talk about are for near mint, beautiful, 9.8 copies and so on. And my copies are as good as I can get, and that's fine. As long as a person's happy with them, it doesn't matter. There are some people that collect them just to read. They don't even care if they're coverless. A lot of these comics that are first appearances would have some value to somebody even coverless, but you got to find the right person, and great is everything, like in everything else. But this was actually autographed by Jerry Conway, the writer of the story, and some folks will not do that because getting back to condition, that's ink smeared all over a book. Downgrade, immediate downgrade.
I think it really
Somebody wrote on it.
depends on.
I did
on
it
the
for me,
person.
so I'm not setting this to CGC. I don't care. I did it for me because I got to meet the artist and talk to him.
Right.
It's my thing for me. I don't really have to
I mean,
worry about other people
you-
and what they think until I'm dead and somebody sells it. But for me, it's fine right now. But yeah, first Power Girl, first Phoenix, first Phoenix in there. Here's your first X-Men in their own magazine. I have a coverless giant size X-Men number 1, simply because I can't afford a piece of paper that looks like a cover, complete issue of giant size X-Men number 1. But this is a pretty good, solid copy of 94. Finally, it took me years to find it. Gotta wait on that. This is the second Punisher because I can't afford a first one. This is the first Harry Osborn as Green Goblin because the original Green Goblin was his father. And these are all from the Silver Age.
Pretty exciting.
70s books. This one here it's hidden.
Is it a signed first Punisher?
Because it
or a
is.
second Punisher?
This is smashed by Backerboards because I'm trying to.
Oh, cool.
I'm trying to self-press, and it looks like I did it. Mostly.
It looks
a
good.
spine roll out of this. This is the Death of Green Goblin, and it's signed by Conway, the artist or the
Very
writer.
nice.
I do not have don't have a 121 with Gwen Stacy death. But this originally had a horrible spine roll, and I've kind of self-pressed it back into. I've been inching it along into a solid, without hurting the staples and stuff, a solid copy.
It looks great.
Now this one over here I'm going to pull out is mentioned last time. This is my Marvel Mystery Comics that I did get to meet Alan Bellman, and he did sign it. Again, this is an expensive book, and the signature ruins it, depending on who you are. Me, I'm good with it. He dated it 2017. I got to meet him. He walked up to him. He goes, "Come talk to me. I'm a living legend." All right, how do you refuse that? So there he was.
Okay, so that's pretty awesome.
Trivia. Most people do not know. He has on his table a print. It's a new thing. He decided to start playing this up. A print that shows Stan Lee in the bottom left corner he's holding up an illustration, kind of like this. And over in the bottom right-hand corner is Alan Bellman. And Stan says, "You drew Spidey too big, too thick. I think I better give him to Steve Ditko." And Alan Bellman says, "You really know how to hurt a guy, Stan." He was the first tryout to draw the Amazing Spider-Man in Amazing Fantasy 15 and his own book.
Okay, that's pretty.
And he was rejected because his version didn't look right. That's a backhanded claim to fame for the Silver Age. Stan comes up and he goes, "You're drawing too big. I just can't publish this. I'm going to give it to Steve Ditko." Okay. And they seem to do all right with that decision, but that's something I had no idea that happened, and I'm like, "Hey, you can laugh about it now. That's good." But
can you laugh about that?
apparently he does.
I wouldn't.
His claim to fame is all about Captain America anyway, and every time he shoots a picture with you, I know because I shot a selfie with him, he gets a fighting stance. Like he's ready to go. So, he's ex-Navy. He will not go. He lives on the ocean. Won't go in it. His wife says he won't go anywhere near the water. That tells me he saw some stuff.
Yeah,
So, she doesn't understand it, but she doesn't ask. So, but yeah, it was a fun con. I got Steranko was there.
Nice.
Billy D. Williams was there. It was a lot of fun stuff. And
That's like when we got to meet Jose Delbo.
yes,
The man was great. We were like, "Hey, we're about to go see you at your table," and he looks at us and he goes, "Yeah, well, I'm not there yet." and
yep.
and Jeff and I
Thank
just
you.
we
Thank
just,
you very much for clearing that up.
We just sat there and we were like,
What do we do with
like
that?
Okay. So we.
Then he shuffles
we,
over and he
we-
goes, "I'm here now."
Yes. Yes. It was,
Alrighty
it
then.
was, like, you had to be there
Yeah.
because, like, we were like, "Oh, hey, we're coming over to see you," and he's like, "Yeah,
I'm not there yet.
Yeah, and I'm just like,
No, you're not. Good for you.
but I tell you what,
Correct.
he was really awesome, and his wife is probably one of the coolest people
Yep,
too.
yep.
So she was like looking at us, and she's like, my husband did this and this and that, like very proud, very everything.
Great salesman.
And then she's like, "So how many of these prints did you want?" And we were like, and she goes, "Like 3 or 4?" And we were like, "Yes, ma'am."
Sure. Yeah. She's
And
like
she looks
Logan.
at she looks at her husband, and as we're talking, basically she's like, as we're talking, she goes, "You want this one or this one?" And she's trying to help us hurry along. And as we were like, "Yeah, oh, that one's cool. Oh, that one's great," she pulls them out, goes to her husband, doesn't even look at him, does this, hands in the things, and goes, "Sign it." And he goes, "Yes, dear," and does his signature.
He's got his tour manager right there.
Yeah, and she was just so great, and we're talking to him about comics and stuff, and he's like, "Well, I had the most fun on this issue," and she goes, "But you told me you enjoyed this," and he goes, "Well, I like that too," and she goes, "This one's really his favorite, guys," and we're just like, "Yes, ma'am."
Whatever you say.
Yeah,
And a
she's
lot
the
of these
best.
old school guys, their wives are with them, and they help keep them straight. This one's got to be signed in silver. This one you sign right here, and this one this guy'd like a picture. Shoot a picture with this guy, and they handle the lines and the fans, and it's a well-oiled machine. They've done this for so long.
Thank you, Mrs. Elba.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
And remind me to show my print of Superman, Batman, and
I don't want to talk about that. I'm so angry that you got the last one.
Sorry.
Ah.
Not sorry. I will.
It
We'll
was
show that off
so
next
good.
week. Yeah, it still is. Anyway,
Mine's cool too.
yes, it is. Everything he did was cool.
So good.
And you wouldn't even really know a lot about him unless you investigated it. But he drew a lot for DC in the 70s, Bronze Age. I also found out that I don't think I pulled it out. I should have. Did I? No. Can you grab that folder for me?
Also, for some of you guys,
Never mind. Wrong one.
you may or may not be aware, I was messing around with some books the other day, and I ran across this.
There it is.
So while he's doing that, I'm going to pull this over here.
Puck.
Well, no, we're talking about this. As of 1983, when this book was published, we go to our P page here, which, by the way, these books are great. The Marvel Universe.
Those are sweet.
Just so good. So if we go to our P's here.
All kinds of background information on each character.
From Nimrita to Pyro. So what's really cool is what you can't see, probably, because it's probably too far away, or I'm just... Anyway, it says right here, Punisher. Real name, classified. Occupation, blah, 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 blah. But then it says origin. The Punisher's real name is as yet revealed, or unrevealed. He was a captain of the United States Marine Corps and a veteran of the Vietnam War. So here's the fun thing. As of 1983, the Punisher did not have the name of Frank. Which is just...
You always kind of figured that, he's always been Frank Castle.
Yeah.
Not necessarily he was a mystery man, to a point.
Yeah.
This makes me feel incredibly old. My run on, when I was a kid, 11 years old, 12, somewhere in there, 1977-ish, I had 2 subscriptions where Marvel sent me books to the house because my parents got them for me. Amazing Spider-Man and Marvel Team-Up. And then I got into X-Men and other kinds of stuff. Fantastic Four. when I was a kid, and I collected comics till I was about somewhere around 1984. And then I went to college, and
So you
out
were
and in and out.
1984?
Huh?
Man, it's old.
Yeah, I know. Well, I looked back on this the other day, and apparently it's in Bronze Age. All right,
Is it really?
because the cutoff is 1985. This is from 1982.
Fair.
This is a run where the X-Men are having to fight off the Brood in a place called Sleaze World, and all kinds of interesting things happen, but Carol Danvers turns into Binary because she's not Captain Marvel anymore, and so on and so forth. I have always wanted to double cover a comic book, and this is the first time I've ever had a chance to get one. And there she is. And it's a 1982 issue of a book that I was reading when I was a kid. So I'm like, this is perfect. I collect X-Men anyway. This will tell you how out of it I am after a 12-hour work shift this weekend. I flipped it over and I want to make sure if everything's there. Yeah, looks like okay. Flipped it over, back cover. Oh, it's got 2 back covers. This was a surprise to me. I need more sleep.
John Young says, haha, I kept collecting, dear cousin.
Yes, he did. And I'm at fault for that because when I visited him when I was a kid, in my teens, we started out with X-Men, like issue number 8, Unus the Untouchable, and everything else that we could find at an auction. We got some like radial premiums and stuff, and he's been collecting ever since. Same thing with Adam Landis, my brother-in-law through marriage. I'm at fault for spreading this disease all over the world, I think.
Access Vision. Your voice, your community.